Hello and welcome to the George Markoski Show.
Welcome.
Great. I want to make sure my sound's working. Is my sound working properly?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, George.
Fantastic. So this is our
Crystal.
Christmas special. And what I want to do is I'm going to go through a summary of what we've been going through over the last year to the live group and to our podcast. And then we've got actually a private audience of our members here. And then we're going to go private in our group and get down to the nitty gritty. Because I've been away for the last 30 days. I've been in LA, Dallas, Miami, and Cayman Islands. So it's been quite a bit of a trip. And a lot of people saying, George, why did you go to the Cayman Islands? Is that for your tax-free refuge? No, it's actually, I went there for stem cell therapy, right? So that's what it is. But what I want to do is talk a little bit about what's happening in the market at the moment. So
Cool.
unless you're living under a rock, you've probably heard that Trump won the election.
Yes.
Yep, and I can see a MAGA hat here in the background. And look, me and Christina were booked in to go to America just after the election, early November. And basically, okay, puppy, down you get. He's very distracting now. Okay, go, get away. Anyway, and we thought, wow, we don't want to go to a swing state because who knows what's going to happen because it was very charged up when it comes to the US elections. And it was actually quite interesting for me to go and spend time with business leaders in America and find out what their true opinion was about, what happened and what's going to happen in the election. And look, overall, people in America are very, very excited. I've been talking to business leaders all around America. I've been talking to some of the top people in Silicon Valley, and they're all very positive, and they think it's the best thing that's ever happened to America. They're very excited, and the economy is going to go crazy. Now, the thing is, when the American economy goes good, the Australian economy goes good. We follow suit. So history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And what I like to do is I like to see what's happened in history so then I can look at what the future holds. And as you know, I've been predicting the property market for 20 years straight now. And I've got hit after hit after hit. And actually, I'm going to show you a few deals that we've done this year from an internal presentation so you can see some of the stuff we've been doing for our members, which is pretty exciting. Before I do that, I just want permission if Charmaine or Billy want to reach out to me and just let me know, can I show this stuff? Because I don't want any of our members missing out to make sure that we can't make it public unless we can show it. Otherwise, I might show it next week because I've got to also protect our top 100 and only show the top 100 once we finish with the top 100, not while we're still going there, right? So that's an
Yes,
internal thing because, there's
absolutely.
15,000 suburbs in Australia and we invest in the top 100. And the way we keep the top 100, we don't tell anyone about it. But now we can talk about what we've done in the last year, but only if there's nothing left to do. Anyway, so Trump has got in power and Trump is planning on getting tariffs. So what a tariff is like a tax, like an import tax on other countries. And the main people he's targeting Canada and he's also targeting China. China, right? He's going to, yeah, that's right. Now, what's happened is China have started printing money already to counteract the tariffs. The Fed, the Reserve Bank of America, the Federal Reserve, they've started printing money as well. Now, when they,
Did
so
he
when
put
they,
tariffs in last time he was in power?
yes, he did.
Right, yeah. So he's just going to do more of the same old that he did last time,
Yeah,
basically.
yes. But if you look at pre-COVID, you look at COVID. This is the one thing I told everyone because a lot of people were scared of investing in property during COVID because everyone thought the property market was going to crash because of
Yes,
the supply
I
chain.
recall.
Yep. Now, what the governments were doing, the central banks pre-COVID, during COVID, because of COVID, they were doing quantitative easing, right? Now, quantitative easing is a fancy word for saying printing a shit ton of money.
In
Now,
layman's terms, yes.
and the reason they print a lot of money is so they can support the economy and keep everything flowing because capitalism's all about money and things going up and things going
Yeah, and there
through.
was a lot of businesses that just simply could not operate because of COVID too. So they had to do something.
Yes, yes. So what they did is they printed a lot of money. That was going to prop up the economy and push everything through and keep GDP up. and make sure we don't get into a recession. So it's a bit like printing money is like putting fuel in the fire. They saw the fire was going out and they're like, oh shit, let's pour
They
gasoline.
started stoking it again.
Yeah. But what they did is
Throw some more wood on.
they poured a lot of gasoline on, heaps. And I was telling everyone, there's a lot of gasoline getting poured on. We need to invest in property because they're going to boom. And look, my prediction was right. What happened was it went through the roof. Then COVID finished, and then we had other issues because building costs went up. And once again, I said property prices are going to go up because we were constrained. And what did they do in the last couple of years? They've gone up. Now that the central banks are starting to print money again, that's another sign that we're about to hit another property boom.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's pushing the next property boom. It's printing of money. We've actually, the last 2 years, we've had between 300 and 500 construction companies go broke every single month. Just
Wow.
let that sink in, like every month. We have got immigration coming through, and even the opposition aren't trying to stop it, which they should, which is interesting. Because the one thing governments like is they like printing money and immigration because it makes them look good, because it makes everything go well. But it's not the best thing for the average Australian. So all those things together are going to fuel the fire of the next property boom. But there's a third thing now. The Federal Reserve in America have dropped interest rates once again yesterday by 0.25, and they're planning on dropping them more over 2025. They've already got plans in place. That's the Federal Reserve. That's America, not Australia.
Oh. But
Now,
Australia always follows America, usually.
they do. But what's happening in Australia? We've got the lowest unemployment rate we've had in history. It's, I think, let me just have a look. I think it's like 3%.
Amazing.
It's
We've
like
got such a strong economy here. People just don't realize.
it's so low unemployment rate.
3%.
Is it 3%?
That's what
I
Claudio said.
had a look recently. Yeah,
Thank
3%.
you.
That is low. That is low. If you think
Yeah.
about during the 90s, right? During the 90s, we had 11% unemployment rate, and we still had one of the biggest booms in property. And now it's like 3%. So the RBA, they're holding off even longer because of the 3%, right?
Mhm.
That's the challenge. And what's happening is there's a lot of government jobs happening now too, which is employing a lot of people. So the economy is going really well, and RBA are trying to dampen it, which really sucks. So I'm hoping they're going to drop rates next year. So when they drop rates next year, it's going to be big. It's going to be three different factors. So you look at the factors, there's more than three. You got printing of money, immigration, not enough construction, and interest rates going down. There's four different things pushing it up to create a super cycle. And what a super cycle is, there's cycles of property prices. So what happens is usually there's a 10-year cycle. And what happens is properties stay stagnant for a while. And then for a third of the time, about 3 or 4 years, they double. And then they stay stagnant for a while, and then they double. That's what I call a normal cycle. But a super cycle is when you've got one of these cycles on steroids, and instead of just going up for 3 years, they just keep going for a little bit longer, much longer, until we fix our supply chain, our construction, our immigration. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the summary of what's happening, what happened this year, what's going to happen next year. I think we're in for big things, a lot of big things. It's going to be a very exciting year.
Super boom. Super cycle equals super boom.
That's right. Super cycle equals super boom. That's right. And that's what's happening. So very exciting. Now that we're finishing off 2024. 2024 was an amazing year. We've seen a lot of our clients, a lot of our members that have bought property. Recently, we had a property.
A lot of good people. A lot of good people.
That's right. Yeah. So look, we had, I can't say the suburb because we're still buying properties there, but we had members that bought these townhouses about 12 months ago. They put a deposit down. They're settling next month, and the valuation from the bank is over $100,000 more than what they paid for it, which is astounding because bank valuation of brand new property.
Ching.
are normally 5 or 10% out lower because they don't have the comparables. Because when you're
Mm.
valuing a property, you need to compare it to other properties. And one of the big mistakes valuation valuers do is they're comparing apples for oranges and they can't get the value right. But
Yeah, we
I
had an
learned,
interesting comment here.
yep,
So the main problem is energy policy here in Australia that will drive up inflation and the cost of living up. Energy is the one thing that dictates all other elements of the economy because it is involved in every aspect of the economy. That is why the RBA will be hesitant to drop rates to curb self-induced inflation. Yes, for the time being, I would be a prophet of doom. The good thing for property is at times of high inflation, property values climb, coupled with increased demand and limited supply. Yes, thank you very much, Dean.
that, that's right. Absolutely. Energy is, I mean, look, our whole society runs on petroleum at the end of the day, on fossil fuels.
Mhm.
What it is. Because everything is used, even if you want an electric car, you need fossil fuels to build an electric car. Yeah. And Claudia was saying we need to get off the climate crisis. Well, it's interesting that the opposition government are looking at getting back into nuclear now, which is fascinating. Now,
Mm.
Christina, when do we go to a private shirt? What time?
Anytime you like, George, we can go now.
Well, no, we've got to look at the timing. Oh, there's no timing here. Okay, we can go back to our private group. Why don't we go into our private group because we're going to have our Christmas special. Everyone grab their beverage of choice because we're going to have a nice little drink together. I think we've invited the team to join us today as well.
We have,
Right.
yes.
And this should be a fun little Christmas special. So if we can cut off the public broadcast, now we're private. Now I can say what I really think.